Last week, I left you playing baseball on the Heckscher Ball Field, located behind the Old First Church on Main Street. Well, that land, about 40 acres, was owned by Ezra Prime, a prominent citizen of Huntington, before it was purchased by August Heckscher. But Heckscher Park, as we know it today, wasn't Huntington's first planned public park. In the late 1800s, there was a common outcry in the village for public improvements, including a need for breathing spaces in the form of parks. A newspaper editorial stated that it is high time that the residents of the town of Huntington bestirred themselves to secure some tract on the bay or harbor front for a town park ere it becomes too late. August Heckscher, E.A. Sweet, and the very wealthy William J. Matheson, owner of Fort Hill and most of Key Biscayne in Florida, represented the Huntington Bay and Harbor Protective and Improvement Association and helped procure and improve a parcel of land and waterfront for a town park in 1906. Our first town park was Haleside Park, just north of the end of New York Avenue. Haleside Park had picnic tables, a gentle walking path, and a small pavilion provided by Matheson, and a beach. It was not a very sanitary beach due to the dumping of sewage into the harbor, but Heckscher provided funding to dredge and clean up the water. Even a house was raised and moved from the property to a location south of the park. It appears from the postcards that I've seen that there was a bathing period for boys and a period for young ladies. Haleside Park is still there today, but the beachfront is all but destroyed. The picnic tables and the walking paths are all gone. However, you can certainly visit it for a look at Huntington's first public park. The pond on prime property that August Heckscher purchased has been called Trout Pond, Crystal Lake, and Prime's Pond. It is fed by the springs that flow north down Spring Street and then to the pond and harbor. There were ice huts on the property because during the cold winter months, ice was cut and sold from the pond to refrigerate the foods for the businesses and residents of the community. When the pond was sufficiently and safely frozen, the Primes permitted ice skating on it, a popular and anticipated activity. August Heckscher made his money in coal mining, zinc mining, iron ore, and eventually real estate. After Haleside, he set his sights on another park for Huntington, and that was on the Ezra Prime property that he now owned. The property was a bit run down when he purchased it. He excavated and redesigned the pond in 1915. He tore away ice and horse sheds, tended to the lawn, and planted trees. It was said that several pieces of old silver coins were dug up because Ezra Prime was a thimble maker and turned old silver coins into thimbles. The pond was eventually called Heckscher Pond or Lake. The Heckscher Museum of Art opened on July 10, 1920. The park, the community field, and the museum and its contents were collectively a beautiful gift from the Heckschers to the town of Huntington. Here is your question for the week. For the first time in Huntington history, a street was renamed after a prominent female resident. Do you know who that is and where the street is? I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.